Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar hosted by Somali One Health Center at Abrar University with the partner UFBR. I am Dr. Amir Musa Osman. I will be the moderating this webinar. Today, we are celebrating One Health Day. One Health Day is witnessed annually, 3rd November. One Health Day provides an opportunity for experts and the community to join together in One Health education and awareness, communication, coordination, and collaboration among partners working in animal, human, and environmental health, as well as other relevant areas, are an essential part of One Health approach. Working together allows us to have the biggest impact on improving health for people, animal, and our shared environment. Today, we will be focusing to understand One Health concept, capacity building for One Health approach, antimicrobial resistance, a threat to human and animal health. Finally, Abrar's One Health research past and ongoing. You can expect each speaker to have the stage for about 30 minutes, and we will conduct a short question and answer at the end of each session. If you have any question during the webinar, please type them into the chat box. We will address them during the question and answer. For that, we will start with welcoming message, the hosting university rector, Dr. Ahmed Abdullah Hassan Kadle. Dr. Ahmed Abdullah Hassan Kadle is a rector of Abrar University and a professor of epidemiology in the College of Veterinary Medicine at Abrar University, Somalia. He also co-founded and currently serves as chairman of Oak Dairy Factory. Dr. Kadle received his bachelor and MSc from the University of Bahri, Sudan, and his PhD and postdoctorate from the Federal University of Brana in Brazil. His research activities focus on the epidemiology of vector and vector-borne disease, which have a global One Health. Welcome, Dr. Ahmed, to the stage.
Thank you very much. I hope everyone can hear me very well. Okay?
Yes, Dr. Ahmed, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, everyone. Dear colleagues, friends, delegates, guest speakers, keynotes, and our students. Good afternoon from Abrar University, Somalia. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all, distinguished guests and delegates, to the Abrar University Global One Health Day 2021. I would like to thank every one of you for being here with us today, and for those who kindly helped us make this event come together and to become a success story for the first time in Somalia. As Dr. Amir said, today is the One Health Day in the world. It was started in 2016, and this marks the 6th annual One Health Day, which is a worldwide campaign that celebrates and brings attention to the need for One Health approach, just to address shared health threats, problems, and also solve it together with the human-animal environment balance interface. Our university joins today the global campaign for the first time, and we are very proud to be able to host it today with all of you. Thank you very much. The goal of the event is held in different parts of the world is to call attention to the importance of the One Health concept, which provides an opportunity for experts and community to join together in One Health education and awareness, and also communication, coordination, and collaboration among different working groups in animals, humans, and environmental health, as well as other relevant areas are essential part of the One Health approach. Working together allows us to have biggest impact in improving the health for people and animals and our shared environment. this One Health Day. We invite you all the participants here in Somalia and even outside of the world to learn more about the connections between human and animal and environmental health, and also promote One Health abroad to create a healthier world. So this is just what we need today to promote for this One Health abroad, so as to get the healthier one for the all. We feel that we are not alone in our predicament, and this gives us a strength to be reserved. I wish you all an education and transformative day too, and thank you for your participation. Thank you very much, and I hope you will get the benefit of this One Health Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for your welcoming. And now we proceed our next. As you see our screen, we will have 5 different topics. We will have 4 different topics. And now we will proceed our next topic. One Health concept, presented by Dr. Farah Momin. Dr. Farah Momin is a One Health researcher currently studying in infection and immunity at the University of Liverpool, UK. He did his master in veterinary vaccine production and quality control at the University of Ibadan, Nigeria. Farah is the current chairman of Woodland Livestock Professional Association and former dean of the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine at Red Sea University, Somalia. He is interested in surveillance of zoonotic disease, understanding emerging and infections, and their prevention. Welcome, Dr. Farah, to the stage.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Farah Momin, as Amir said. I am actually glad to be here today with you. I thank Abrar University for this initiative and conducting or commemorating One Health for the first time in Somalia. Thank you very much for this initiative, and I invite particularly Dr. Ahmed for your invitation. As Amir has already introduced me, I am Farah Momin. I did my DVM degree in Jumma University, Ethiopia, and graduated in 2016. Then later on, did my first master's degree in Nigeria, University of Ibadan, and then currently doing my second master's at the University of Liverpool. I am quite exposed to this One Health concept earlier when I was studying my DVM degree in Ethiopia. So I was quite following the journey. So let us start. What is One Health? One Health is defined by just in a simple definition, is a concept that is promoting that the animal health, human health, and the environmental health are all interrelated. They are all interlinked, and they are indispensable. We have these 3 compartments mainly, but later on we will see that the field is more interdisciplinary, more than these 3. Now and currently we are inviting the social sciences. We are inviting different sectors of and different disciplines, and they are merging together. So today is, as already introduced, is a World Veterinary Day. November 3 is marked to be an annual commemoration of this event where different stakeholders come together and see different actors that are on the ground in each country, and main participants of this events are people from the government side, organizations, and even the academia, where now Abrar is spearheading this issue, and the public themselves. And if we see the history of this One Health concept was quite, even though the issue, the initiatives have started recently, it was started from the veterinary side. We have James Harlan, is a veterinarian, and he wrote his book, in his book, Veterinary Medicine and Human Health. He mentioned or connoted the word one medicine, and where he was talking about efforts to prevent disease from animals that are coming from animals and infecting human. And then later on in 2004, Wildlife Conservation Society had a meeting, and they connoted one world, one health. One of the recommendations they have recommended, one of the 12 recommendations they have mentioned it was related to One Health. In 2007, again, American Medical Association recommended to consider One Health when preparing for pandemics. In 2008, FAO, the idea was just emerging at that time, and FAO, WHO, and OIAA from the animal side, and even UNICEF and so on, came and included the World Bank, just co-develop the first strategic framework for One Health. And later on, USAID launched the Emerging Pandemic Threats Program, which initiated the One Health Office. And that was the time when this concept was introduced to Africa by the USAID. And it was mainly started in East Africa. We will see that the first conference, One Health conference in Africa, was held in Ethiopia. And in 2012, I think that was the time when I was studying in Jimma University in Ethiopia. That was when the project was, and Jimma University was one of the universities that were invited initially to participate OCHA program. The OCHA is now, I think, transformed to African One Health University. The name was changed now, but that time it was called OCHA, and that was the time the initiative started in East Africa, particularly, let me say like that way. In 2010, the tripartite concept was published by UN and World Bank, and then in 2011, again, One Health Commission, and the first One Health conference in Africa was established, was held in Ethiopia, and later on the first summit worldwide was 2012, and then later on different regional organizations emerged in different continents on this world. So why this is getting more popularity in recent years? Because it is obvious that we have so many emerging diseases in these days. We had a lot of disease emergencies within the last, let me say, half century. We had HIV in human, we had HIV AIDS, SARS, we had swine flu, we had Ebola, we had Zika virus, and current COVID-19. We have different diseases listed here, emerged within the last 50 years in animals. And here we have some shared diseases by both human and animals, like PSE, West Nile fever, and Rift Valley fever, and even influenza. So before we proceed, I think many people who have maybe taken epidemiology can remember some of these words, like sporadic, which is a number of cases, accidental cases, a group of cases, also called cluster, Endemic is the usual level of disease, which is constantly happening in the population. And then we have epidemic, when the endemic just exceeds the limit and it's a new significant of the disease in the area. And this epidemic word is mainly is very common in the human health rather than animal health, where in animal health we use exotic and exotic interchangeably with this epidemic word. And then we have actually the pandemic, when it is a worldwide spread. So pandemics are not new. As you can see this picture here, the world history of pandemics is dominated by plague. Plague is just a name, but not a specific disease. And it is mainly confused whether it is a measles or a smallpox, but actually there were very disastrous diseases as we have, like black disease. Again, we had smallpox again. But what is interesting in this picture is within the last, let me say 20 years here, within the last 20 years, let me go this way. Within the last 20 years here, compared to the rest of the history, epidemics are quite frequent. We had MERS, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even though some of them are not very deadly as compared to what happened in the history, they are quite frequent. And this is what is worrying us. And why this frequency is very common. And actually some of the answers can be, we have now population is bigger compared to the history previously. We are more urbanized. You see, there's more human animal interaction, whether in the urban area where human animals are linked and living together in homes, whether they are pets and so on, and in the bush and the wild, where we are interacting again with and displacing these wildlife animals from their habitat. And actually, again, the global trade and global travel is again very frequent. And let us see again the importance of One Health. If you can see, since 2000, we had number of outbreaks, disease outbreaks. We had SARS, which is again coming from the bats, H5N1. We had H1N1 from poultry and pigs. We had MERS from bats and camels. We had Ebola. We had Zika virus again in Americas. We had COVID-19 recently, and they are almost, most of them, even though this one is still in question, the current COVID-19, but most probably they are all originated from animals. They are originated from animals. So animal origin pandemics or diseases that are coming from animals can be direct zoonosis. We know that direct zoonosis are diseases transmitted directly from animals to human, or they are infectious diseases of human naturally, but the pathogens themselves are coming originally from animals, like measles and HIV/AIDS. And we have different types of zoonosis. We have direct zoonosis. That means like rabies, where the bite of the dog or the fox is directly affecting the human. We have Ebola, where we have few cycles of human transmission. We have again dengue virus. We also have, for instance, many cycles of human transmission. And then actually we have HIV/AIDS, where it was originated from animals, but after many cycles of human transmission, lastly, the disease is currently just a human-to-human transmission only. So the question is here, which animals do we get the zoonosis from? Which are the major animals that we get disease from? Most likely, they are the species that related to us, one. They are the species that interact with us. They are the species that are abundant. So when we have at least two of these three conditions, there's a possibility of then just a zoonosis or pandemic from that animals. For instance, livestock. Let us take an example of a livestock. Livestock interacts with us, and again, they are abundant. They are everywhere. Rodents, again, they are interacting with us. Again, they are abundant. Pyramids, they are related with us, and they are interacting with us again in somehow, even though not much. Bats, they are abundant, but they often interact with livestock, even though they don't interact with us directly. They interact with animals while grazing. And here, so when we have at least two of these conditions, and we are here, then we have risk of diseases coming from the animals. And number of shared viruses with human, you see, most of the viruses we share with parents, next then the rodents, then the pigs and cows and so on. Just where will the future pandemics will come from? Definitely, the question is, will there be a future pandemics? Definitely, when we see what we learn from the history, there will be a number of upcoming pandemics. And where will they come from? And most of them will come from animals, even though there can be viruses that are can jump from the lab and can be intentionally or these accidents can happen. Most of the world pandemics that we avoid will come from this and animals, particularly undomesticated animals in the wildlife. Why? Because they have a large and untapped pool of potentially zoonotic pathogens again, and only what we learn, what we know is just 1/4 of all known mammalian viruses are just only known from humans, and yet we are, as a human, we are one of 6,500 animals. So there's a huge gap in our knowledge in this sector. So what are the drivers? I think, what are the drivers here? So when we are saying drivers are what accelerating these pandemics to occur. As you know, we have the pathogens are mainly in these different animals, whether they are wild animals or domesticated animals. Viruses and other pathogens can easily be transmitted to one human. Then there will be a possibility of human-to-human transmission, and then after some time there will be this worldwide spread of the disease due to the drivers. So drivers are what is causing the virus. May be just a single virus originated from an animal in the wild. How this virus can cause a worldwide pandemic. They are actual drivers. What are the drivers? The normal drivers are just the pressure which is causing to move something. So we have some drivers from the virus sector, such as the transmission route. We know many viruses, and particularly those causing a pandemic is just spread orally, intranasally. That means aerosol transmitted diseases. Again, host range zoonosis just in fact large number of host organisms might or so even sometimes are infected like COVID-19 spreading the disease. From the side, just population size, population is growing worldwide, mobility and globalization, and reservoir hosts. More, if we see the population of the nations worldwide, now we have 1.3, just only in India, we have 1.3 billion now, but we're expecting to have more than 1.6 billion and even exceed China within a few years. And other countries are just doubling every few years. Again, this again is very interesting, the mobility and globalization, one of the biggest, particularly the air travel eightfold at times within the 40 years. Yeah. So single infection can be just transmitted from one continent to another, from one country to another within a amount of hours and days. Yeah. Just this is an example of air traffic. Just this was on a picture I snapped last night when I was preparing these slides. And ecological factors, again, very important. So we have the climate change, urbanization. You see, we are just removing so many living organisms from their natural habitats, the trade and the environmental disturbance. As you know, the world trade again has increased, and goods from Africa are transported to Europe, to Asia. Things produced in Asia are transported by ships to maybe to other continents. Okay, so where this contamination can come from, the contamination can come from the containers. The contamination can come from the goods itself, people handling it, and so on. So there was some cases that imported used tires imported from Asia. I think some other African countries were spreading some when isolated, spreading some infections. Climate change is again very important. Almost 63% of human and domestic animal pathogens, they are climate sensitive. Almost 7% and 68% in human, 82% to direct drivers like rainfall and temperature increase. Large numbers of climate drivers, vectors, foodborne transmission routes. So where are we in One Health? Why One Health is important, and in this aspect, actually, it's very clear that prevention is always better than cure. And restraining, imagine restraining COVID-19 in early 2020, maybe January or December 2019, if it was contained easily or maybe prevented in somehow, how the world looked like. And delays, this can relate different costs and the economy, and good for the economy. And as we have already said, One Health is broadly multidisciplinary and not only restricted to human health and animal health and the environment only, and many others are invited. I think that is gives a simple overview for someone who doesn't have much exposure to One Health, can get some maybe basic concepts, and that was my objective. Thank you very much for for listening me and attention. And I will entertain for a few minutes. If you have maybe any questions, we can raise, even though I can't answer all One Health related questions. Thank you very much. And over to you, Amir.
Thank you, Dr. Farah, for an enlightening presentation on the right way to understand the concept of One Health. We appreciate having this mysterious area clarified. Thank you again. Okay. Now we'll proceed. Our next topic.
There is one question here, and related to including One Health in the curriculums and the education. I think it's very encouraging and it's very important.
Yeah, you have to welcome.
Yeah, to include maybe One Health at least as a chapter in maybe in public health courses, preventive medicine course, in veterinary medicine. I think there's a veterinary public health course, and even some universities are dedicating a complete course as to give an understanding of the undergraduate students to understand more of the interaction between human health and animal health and how it's important in their communities. So I think it is to be encouraged to be included in the curriculums. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Farah, again. Now we'll proceed our next guest, Dr. Rafael, concept capacity building for One Health approaches. Prof. Dr. Rafael Vieira is an associate professor of epidemiology of vector-borne disease and One Health in the Department of Veterinary Medicine at the Federal University of Paraná, Brazil, a research leader of the Vector-Borne Disease Laboratory and affiliated of the Global One Health Initiative at the Ohio State University, USA. Dr. Vieira research interests focus on the infectious disease with the emphasis of vector-borne and transmission zoonotic diseases and global health. Dr. Vieira also focused on the molecular detection and the characterization of hematorobic mycoplasma species and the evaluation of and validation of diagnostic tests and zoonotic infectious disease. Welcome, Professor Rafael. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Amir. Let me try to share. Can you see now?
Yes.
Okay. So good morning from Brazil. Good afternoon in Somalia. It's a great pleasure to be here talking a little bit and celebrating this important day for One Health in the world. So would like to, here this morning, I combined some initiatives that we have been doing over the last 10 years, mainly due to celebration of the 10 years of the Global One Health Initiative. So it's my pleasure seeing Abdullah here. So Dr. Abdullah and I, we started this collaborative partnership in 2017, and it's good to see that things are growing and in a high level scale during these days. So the first one that I would like to present you is the northeastern region of Brazil, which is the Paraíba state. So you can see here on your right. So Paraíba state is a small state of the northeastern region of Brazil. It's considered the most poor region of the country and has a very similar climate to Somalia, since we have the Ecuador line right here. So we have our big partner, it's the Federal University of Paraíba. It's a very huge campus, a lot of courses. And the place that I used to be a faculty 8 years ago is in a city called Areia City. It's a small city in the countryside of the state. And we have a lot of 35 to 40,000 people as a population. So he has a campus there, which is the Agrarious Sciences sector, where we have the veterinary and animal science course. So there we have two main faculties that work with us in a collaborative studies. One is Professor Celso Oliveira. He's been working with food safety and antimicrobial resistance and One Health for the last 15 years. And Professor Lauro Santos, who also works with antimicrobial resistance and One Health. They are both great partners, and Professor Celso specifically is also inside the UFPR and Abrar University memorandum, and he's helping us in some studies. So we have over the years some summer programs happening there. We received some American students and students from other countries, Canada as well. And we also host the ICOFE. So I think some of you already knew this Congress. We renamed this course. Now it's Global One Health Conference, which will be held in France next year. But during our ICOFE, it was the second one in Brazil, we host a pre-congress entitled Molecular Epidemiology and Applications in Foodborne, Nosocomial, and Vector-Borne Infectious Disease of Global Significance, which we received 55 attendees, and 90% of them were fully sponsored by our partners. We used to have grants to attend this course, mainly for PhD students from low-income countries. And this year specifically, I think that most of 40% of the audience were from Africa, from different countries of Africa, and they were fully sponsored to attend. And of course, just after the pre-congress, we host a second ICOFE. And it is a conference that we do not have plenty of rooms and lectures happening at the same time. So we have only one room where we can find physicians, biologists, and veterinarians and animal science and many other faculties and researchers from different areas, really discussing and addressing important gaps on the One Health concept in order to build capacity. We have a huge collaborative institutions working in an antimicrobial resistant network, which is led by our friends from Rio Grande do Sul state. And nowadays we have 12 associated labs, more than 25 researchers, and 15 international collaborators. They are mainly from US and Europe, but we also have some partners from Africa. On the same line, we continue to build capacity, and this course also was we also sponsored some students, mainly PhD students from low-income countries, to attend. Professor Celso was in charge of this course, and is a project that was approved by the Federal University of Paraíba, the Ohio State University, and the University of Nottingham. And it was mainly to prepare PhD students for cutting-edge genomic technologies for different areas, but mainly focusing on antimicrobial resistance, which nowadays is one of the highest threats to global health. We have different kind of workshops. These two were mainly on comparative genomics. One, Professor Enrique Suarez from University of Mexico taught, and another one from Dr. Victor, also on bioinformatics. So this course now we used to do mainly online, and we'll be posting on the Abrar University website the next one. So please be welcome to join us and be part of the big project. Another good partner, we will still stay on the Northeast region of Brazil. It's a closed state, Pernambuco state, which is actually my home state. We have a very good and collaborative study with another university, which is stated right here. So we have the Petrolina city and we have the Juazeiro city. These cities are two different states, Pernambuco and Bahia, and they are divided by a river. So the population of Petrolina is close to 500,000 people. We have one of the highest number of small ruminants, combining sheep and goats, close to 150,000 heads. And Petrolina is well known and international known as an important trade of fruits. So they export grapes, mango, and different fruits that, due to the arid climate, the fruits are amazingly sweet, and they are mainly exported to Asia markets. So we have the Federal University of San Francisco Valley. Although it's a young university, it has been reaching very impact on science. And I would like to advertise here two faculties that are working with us in a closing project. The first one is Professor Mateus Costa. He's mainly working on microbiome, microorganisms, and biotechnology, antimicrobial resistance. He's been working on drug discovery of native plants, and he leads two labs, the microorganisms and biotechnology, and a center for open access of genomic analysis. Some of his work has been awarded, some of them on the treatment of goat mastitis with a native fungus from a plant. And another one is Professor Alexandre Silva, who is working with diagnostic imaging for the last 15 years. And he's been leading an international project on mental health, mainly among veterinarians. So Professor Alexandre's work has already been awarded in the last Global One Health Conference that was hosted by the Ohio State University, and on the mental health and social skills of veterinary residents of Pernambuco State. So the idea now for Karina, who you can see here on the picture, PhD, so he's working on a cross-sectional study on the mental health among veterinarians. So we will be, along with the Brazilians, we will be also evaluating veterinary students from Abrar University in order to see and compare what different of mental health issues or problems we can face. And now you are welcome to Curitiba, where I am now. So Curitiba is far away from the Northeast. So we are in the southern Brazil. It's the coldest capital of Brazil, and we are considered the 8th biggest city of the country. So we have an estimated population on 1.8 million, but when we consider the metropolitan area on Pinhais, São José dos Pinhais counties, we reach close to 3 million people. So it's a huge city, and although it's an urban area, we have a lot of green parks where people used to go on weekends during the warm afternoons, let's say like that. And we have a close interaction between really human environment and animals. So it's a perfect scenario to apply and to study One Health. So we have a lot of projects going on. We have our Curitiba city mayor working with us in some projects. I will show some of them here, but it's a very beautiful and clean city in the southern part of Brazil. So I'd like to introduce you our main building. This is the rector building that we call here the law school we have. It's the Federal University of Paraná. It's the oldest university in Brazil, more than 100 years. And inside, between the many different campuses that we have the agrarian sector, where our veterinary teaching hospital is based on. Here we received a small, wild, and also a small number of large animals, because we are in an urban place. And inside this hospital, we have our lab, which is the vector-borne disease lab that I'm leading since I'm here, 2014. And we have also a number of postdocs, PhDs, and masters and undergrad students working with us. And I would like to highlight some achievements that we have over the years. So during the last ICOFA, which was held in Quebec, Canada, we had former PhD students, Jessica, which is currently a veterinary doctor at the Curitiba city. So she applied for this funding that ICOFA used to offer during each event, and she was fully sponsored to attend. She presented some preliminary data from her PhD, and she was awarded with the best presentation and work on this important meeting. And I hope that on 2022, we have another student either from Brazil and Somalia reaching the same award. I hope so. So and during the pandemics, we had to rebuild ourselves. So we have been working on some online strategies, and mainly in an attempt to stimulate this young generation to continue to pursue and see how important is a One Health approach. So 2 weeks ago, we host the epidemiology of vector-borne disease course, which had Abrar University as a key partner to make it happen. We have advertised in many different websites from distinct institutions in order to really reach the highest number of attendees as we can. So we had the Ohio State University, we have, of course, Abrar. We have different universities in Brazil sharing the course. So University, our own website, and our graduate program website. So after this distinct effort, we had a very important meeting with 17 speakers and more than 200 attendees from different, more than 20 countries in the world. It was a busy week. We started 8 a.m. in Brazil and we finished the afternoon. Somalia past the midnight, but we have a very excitement audience, and they were all really engaged on learning. And that's why it is so good to work on this course and to advocate for capacity building, because we are preparing the young generation for the next pandemics. So Dr. Farah made a very good talk before me, and we are all discussing that all world was not prepared to handle the pandemics, and we really need to be at least 50% ready for the next one. So for this course, I really would like to thank all institutions that have been working with us from all over the world. And as a Global One Health initiative, I would like to give some final remarks on the very productive collaboration that we are having with Somalia. So here I really would like to make a parenthesis and show how important is the group of Abrar University for us. So as I already gave some sentence at the beginning, Dr. Abdullah and we met in 2017 during an ICOFA in Doha, and he was presenting very good data on co-infections, on HIV positive patients. And I was the only one that raised my hand and made a question to him. And since he left the stage, I went to him and said, hey, we need to talk and we need to collaborate. And since that very good coffee, we are building something really big in terms of first capacity building and One Health. And later we are really able to be stimulating the young generation, many the Somali ones from Abrar, to show that a graduate, a master's and PhD is not impossible for the ones that really wants and really are really engaged to work. So I would like to show a picture from your currently rector when he just arrived here as a PhD student. This picture was in 2018. So during one of our field sampling that we were doing here on sampling ticks from the environment and mapping risk carriers, mainly for tick bites and in humans, and some mapping on to avoid Brazilian spotted case fever case in humans. So, and 4 years later, seeing him occupying the rector position is clearly show us that everything is possible when you are capable, when you work hard, and you really want to do better for your country and your community. So for the ones that doesn't know Brazil, these pictures were provided by Professor Mohammed, and this is a picture that he took during his time at the ICRC. As you can see here, you have some goats being slaughtered. You have a cat right here. We have a knife on the mouth of this worker, and we clearly can imagine here, and we can stay here talking for 2 hours about the risk of cross-contamination of different pathogens, zoonotic pathogens between those species. And some of you can say, oh, this is Somalia, but on this next picture, you can see the northeastern and the northeastern region of Brazil, and you see that we just changed the cats for the dogs. And we also have here cattle being slaughtered, and this cattle will be sold on a public market, and people will buy and will eat. And just to clarify you that it doesn't matter the region, the country. So we are all one health, and we should really advocate and work hard on build capacity to avoid outbreaks of infectious disease. We have another picture here from another region of Somalia, also took by Professor Ahmed. And we have two regions here that we just changed the name. Here we have Fegoi in Somalia, and here we have another part of the northeast region of Brazil, where we faced the lack of clean water to drink to animals. So we don't have like vegetations, so the cattle will not gain weight. Here the same. So we are all facing in selected areas, mainly on those where we have not governments that are really aware of people's health and health. We will have same issues on infectious disease, let's say like that. We have another region that we don't have clean water to drink here, and we also have another picture from Somalia. So when we are discussing in our meetings those pictures, those situations, those climate change impact and so on, we have been building capacity. So these, I highlighted here some students that are with us. So the first one, Dr. Ahmed, he finished his PhD here. He came back last year, do a postdoc. We had Abdullah, which is also a Abrar University lecturer and currently the director of the slaughterhouse in Somalia, that pursued his master's degree here. We have Dr. Abdullah, which is currently a postdoc, and we have 3 currently master's students, Ami, Mohammed, and Kautumu. And I'm sure that we have more to come next year, is what I hope, that we continue to grow and we have more and more Somali students on our graduate program in the next years. We have been working closely to try to build a new veterinary medicine curriculum for the Abrar University. We have been working on student supervision, a lot of transversal courses that are available for Abrar students to attend here. I just showed the example of the epidemiology of vector-borne disease we had. We have another one coming, which will be focused on ticks of medical veterinary importance, mainly on the taxonomy. We had on the first semester research methodology and scientific writing. We are discussing a lot about molecular biology. The guys already attend some phylogenetic courses, and we are really open to really spread this partnership along other institutions. We have some pictures here. I'll not give any spoiler because Dr. Abdullah will present to you, but I just would like to show here how Abrar University is working hard to also build capacity on this field. And finally, just to show how our collaborative studies are strong and are really showing impact in the world. Due to this, our data, the University of Gambia had contacted us to join this team. And Dr. Ahmed and I are really working with some faculties from the University of Gambia in an attempt to also build capacity and try to apply the same studies that we are doing in Mogadishu on their country. So here you can see some of our meetings. Actually, this was the master defense of Dr. Abdullah. You can see here some well-known faces for you guys. And here are some of our funding agencies that are supporting our studies for the last years. And I really like to thank you to be here today, and I'm open to questions.
Thank you, Prof. Vail, for your nice and fruitful presentation. And we are very grateful for our collaboration with you. We are looking forward to meet you in vector-borne disease lab.
Thank you, Amir. I hope the situation gets better so we can have you and Mohammed and Kaltumu here soon.
Thank you. If there is any question, please write in the chat box. Feel free to ask.
It seems that Amina, I don't know how to pronounce, sorry if I pronounce wrong. So she's from IGAD. So Amir, please help me to pronunciate the institution. IGAD?
Yes, IGAD.
So we are really open. So Amina, you can like contact Professor Ahmed directly, and we can like set a meeting and see the way we can also have your institution on our partnership.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, now we'll proceed. Our next guest, antibiotic resistance, a threat to human and animal health, will be presented Dr. Mohammed Abdurrahman Mohammed. Dr. Mohammed Abdurrahman Mohammed graduated with a Doctor of Veterinary Medicine from Sudan University of Science and Technology in 2010, and holds a Master of Veterinary Public Health from University of Putra, Malaysia. He is a researcher and a senior lecturer in Somali National University in Mogadishu since 2016. Dr. Mohammed is a member of the Somali Veterinary Medical Association and the Somali One Health program. He has experience in standard operation procedure, development, laboratory, biosafety, biosecurity, One Health initiative, and antimicrobial resistance. He is interested in infectious disease as the animal-human food interface. His research area mainly focuses on the theme of animal infectious disease, particularly zoonosis and antimicrobial resistance. Welcome, Dr. Mohammed. The stage is yours. Now we proceed our next lecture, and we will come back, Dr. Amin. Our next lecture will be the Abrar's One Health research, past and ongoing. Will be presented by Prof. Dr. Abdullah Ibrahim. Prof. Dr. Abdullah Ibrahim is currently working as Vice Rector for Research and Development and Professor of Parasitology at Abrar University, Mogadishu, Somalia. He also serves as director of Abrar Research and Training Center at the same university. He received his PhD 2015 and MSc 2006 from Sudan University of Science and Technology, Khartoum, Sudan. His bachelor 1998 was from the University of Khartoum, Sudan, where he was awarded the University Prize for the best academic performance in biochemistry for this intermediate year. High school certificate 1992 was from Hantop Higher Secondary School, the best historical national school in Sudan. He is an active member of Sudanese Veterinary Association, Khartoum, Sudan, and the Professional Association of Sudanese Higher Education Academic Staff, Khartoum, Sudan. His research area focused on parasitology and epidemiology, where he published about 61 journals and conference papers, and submissions to the International Gene Bank as well, continuously learning for improvement in the above research areas. Dr. Ibrahim attended about 6 international and national training courses and workshops. Dr. Ibrahim supervised 10 published theses, 7 MSc, 1 PhD, and 2 graduation theses. Welcome, Prof. Dr. Abdullah. The stage is yours.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I hope you can hear me well and you can see the Amir, please. Can you see my screen?
Yet?
No?
No.
Can you hear me very well, please?
Yes. Your voice very clear.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. Okay, to save your time, I hope I can summarize this interesting meeting and very productive meeting based on it is very rich in the attendance, starting from Farah and Professor Rafael and all the attendees. Thank you for being here. Now it's okay, thank you. Okay. So, sorry for this. Now I think the screen is sharing with you all. Allow me first to repeat my condolences for our missing lovely people due to pandemic of COVID-19 everywhere, and to continue praying for those hospitalized in any place to become healthy and well. And I hope next Abrar University One Health Day to be face-to-face, and all of you are invited and fully sponsored, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so I am not out point. I hope you can hear me. Amir, is it okay? Hello, everybody?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay. I'm not high point if I take you just for a short journey about Abrar University, the founder of One Health Center here in Abrar University. And here my reference is that when Farah invited social studies or social sciences to join One Health Corners, I believe that education is the center of One Health. If the One Health is 3 corners, education is the center. And hereby, we always mention that Imam Shafi'i Foundation is the founder of Abrar University, so it is also the founder of the Abrar One Health Center. And those people, they sustain education in this country even before the civil conflict in 1990s. So we consider them one of our backbone for Abrar One Health Center here. Again, we always recall our vision in Abrar University of highest quality in any department or in any center we establish here in the university. Similarly, we always call our Abrar mission for dissemination of knowledge and improvement and enhancement of quality of livelihood of Somali community. This should be recalled for establishing the Abrar One Health Center. Okay, One Health issues as discussed or as presented by Dr. Farah and Professor Rafael. Communication and collaboration is one of the important indicators and factors of One Health activities or One Health research. Therefore, Abrar University built a very good communication and collaboration with different universities in different areas of the globe, including Asia, where we are there with different universities in Turkey, and America, where we have there in our another home, which is Brazil, where Professor Rafa is there now. It is just another home of Abrar University there. And also in the regional areas in Africa, in some countries, African countries like Egypt universities and Sudan universities. And of course, this is not enough. It's still communication and connection and networking is continuing to have more collaborators and more partners to achieve our goal in One Health, Abrar University One Health Center. Yes. This slide was already fully discussed by Farah in One Health concept, but here we are just reminding people that the traditions of community, Somali community, at least everybody, starting from school boys up to leaders, they believe on drinking fresh milk, or even in practice of veterinary health care, maybe community health workers, without any protection, as presented in many pictures by Professor Rafael in Brazil and some pictures from Somalia. So therefore, One Health awareness and One Health Center is no need to be justified, because it is significantly justifiable based on that in Somalia. So therefore, Abrar University initiated and started immediately together with Abrar University Research Center and Training. They will start thinking about establishing the Somali One Health Center in the university under the following vision, which is already extracted from the previous vision of Abrar University, and the mission, which is also extracted from the main mission of the university. So if I go in deeper to my title or my topic here to present here with you, what we did here in Abrar University and what we are doing and what are we going to do in the matter of One Health research in Somalia. This is not an advertisement, but of course, 15 minutes is not enough to mention all the work we did here in Abrar University according to One Health research. So therefore, if you need more information, more data about our work, you can explore it from this website. Okay, so of course, historically, Somalia, I believe it was one of the best libraries of science and research in Africa. Yes, this library, maybe some of it was destroyed after the conflict, and therefore, when we sit here in meetings together with Dr. Ahmed, always we think of reviewing the available data to relieve the library of Somalia first in any research before we continue the practical field work for collecting data and going to lab for making research. And therefore, historically, we have to mention these are the first review for One Health research published here in Abrar Research in Abrar One Health Center. Yes, and we always concentrate. First, I am going to present some examples of papers or scientific research published about foodborne pathogens. That is just because you know ecology and community of Somali people already, they are food product. Somalia is food productive country. We already you know more. You will know more maybe in more papers about that. So therefore, foodborne pathogens is our priority here in Abrar One Health Center. Among them, brucellosis is important based on the traditional drinking fresh milk or unboiled milk. Yes, recently, this is one of the important papers. You see how Farah concentrated on viral diseases, particularly hemorrhagic fever viruses like Rift Valley fever disease, for example, or Rift Valley fever virus. So this is one of the recent work done here in One Health Center in Somalia. Somebody can ask, yes, each one of them deserves to be published in separate paper. But here, just because I have no time, I want to remind you with the challenges of going to field and sampling animals or people here in Somalia. Therefore, when we visit any area, we are trying to cover more One Health pathogens as possible as we can. Therefore, you can find here very interesting joining Rift Valley fever virus and brucellosis together. And here is some data that fortunately, the Rift Valley fever is very few. The prevalence rate is very, very few. And I think Somalia is exceptional in this issue also. Only two animals are found or are found positive among 609 samples. So, however, brucellosis is highly prevalent in this paper. It is 10% prevalence rate. So this is, we have to highlight the issue of brucellosis in human health sector. And therefore, leading from that, from the review, and then from the results of brucellosis and including here, we also, together with brucellosis, we include other pathogens because the population under investigation here were pregnant women. So we go directly to the real One Health issue together with our medical colleagues here in Abrar University. And after we review animals data and then we make research in animal, we immediately go directly to complete the cycle investigating pregnant women in Somalia. And here is the result showing that how toxoplasmosis is highly prevalent in the country, at least in Benadir region, we can say that, and how fortunately or even unfortunately, of course, if you have even 1% of brucellosis in pregnant women, because we are not sampling the whole population or the whole people, it is just in pregnant, so 1% is not few prevalence rate of brucellosis in this cohort-like study. Yes, that is just an example of research of foodborne pathogens containing toxoplasmosis and brucellosis. Professor Rafa will be very angry if we didn't give us samples of vector-borne One Health pathogens. Yes, so Somalia is exceptional also among the regional areas of Ethiopia, Kenya, and Uganda, where human African trypanosomiasis was reported. Very old data also is talking that Somalia is exceptional. It is free from heart disease. So we try in One Health to renew or to review or to update the information about that data. And we find it is true. Up to 2020 in this research by Dr. Ahmed, yes, Somalia is still free from any circulating Trypanosoma brucei gambiense or Trypanosoma brucei rhodesiense in all available ruminants, including cattle, sheep, and goats, and also in camel. There is no human African trypanosomiasis parasite in these animals. So it is also one of the most important One Health research conducted here in collaboration with Brazil, with Professor Rafael there in Brazil. Yes, we cannot stop mentioning our prominent collaborators because without them, maybe the work will not be like that. Yes, we always mention UFPR and Institute of Tanzania, of vector-borne in Tanzania as our prominent collaborators together with other partners. Okay, so here I want to mention that we have more to do in One Health in Somalia, based on the pictures presented by Professor Rafael and based on the literature available in the library of Dr. Ahmed, and based on whatever we know. We only investigated about 10 districts here in the country. So there is much to do. Therefore, we are still looking for collaboration and for partnership and for more research in the matter of One Health in Somalia. Yes, so we have ongoing research not published yet, and some of them are submitted, but I want to highlight them for you all to think of it and to let us come together to work on it in this center. First of all, based on ecology of Somalia, yes, many diapterous insects abundant Somalia because the weather is very suitable for these insects. And therefore we highlight all entomological studies, including maize flies. And this is already when we already come through a case of genital or vaginal maize, very rare case to be caused by this diapterous insect under Tabanidi, which is Hemiptera or Hermetia illicens. So we have projects of studying maize disease in Somalia. These are the other 3 projects. They are all of them talking about tick and tick-borne pathogens. Already Professor Rafa come through them, and these all projects are under also collaboration with UFPR in Brazil. Yes. So now, after we published the paper of Rift Valley fever, the WHO advertised an outbreak in Kenya. And always our animal in Somalia, some of them are cross-boarding Ethiopia and Kenya together. So therefore, immediately our center starts sampling the boarding area between Somalia and Kenya. And now we are working on the sample, looking for if there is any animals cross-boarding that endemic or that advertised area of outbreak, and maybe to take action urgently and quickly if there is any case of Rift Valley fever on animals cross-boarding Kenya as advertised by WHO. Yes, I always thanks the former dean of College of Medicine, Abrar University, for his interesting review he make in hepatitis, which he make him now just he's living with hepatitis, and he found that most of all types of hepatitis viruses are detected in Somalia here. And therefore, we are looking forward to work on the environmental factors and animal factors as environmental issue to control this hepatitis disease, because he found that hepatitis virus B is the most causes of chronic hepatic problem in Somalia. So it needs to be searched under One Health concept also. Yes, we don't neglect any kind of pathogen here, including helminthiasis. Just as example, we investigate camels of gastrointestinal parasite in camel. Look at it, we found some some zoonotic worms found carried in the stool of these camels, like Dictyocollus species, Trichostrongylus species, and Toxocara and Strongyloides species. Therefore, we propose research in soil transmitted helminthes in Somalia and larvae migration, both of them, whether visceral larvae migrant and cutaneous larvae migrant helminthiasis in this country, in this center, inshallah. Yes, if I want to mention one limitation of our research in One Health here, although we are very new, yes, we don't start antimicrobial resistance yet, but it is fortunately Farah is here, Rafa is here, and his collaborators there. And I like that but we are not sitting for nothing. That I am very glad one of our students here, he proposed to work in antimicrobial resistance in his graduation thesis. And therefore the center is taking good care of this proposal to be done, inshallah. Yes, I hope I didn't take more of my time, Dr. Amir. And I hope next time, instead of saying stay home, let us say stay at work, stay at your, stay on board, coming to Mogadishu or going to somewhere for your holiday or for your any other activities, inshallah. Thank you. And again, thank you everybody for listening and for being here with us in this day. And we are very sorry for any inconvenience, time issues, and taking more of your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah, for your nice presentation. I think there is one question here. Rift Valley fever is a seasonal disease or depend on availability of vector. So what time of samples or where the samples were taken is important?
Yes. So are you listening, please?
Yes, can I repeat you or?
Yes, I want to see the question itself, please. But
okay, in the chat box. You can see in the chat box.
Okay, he's asking about the best time for sampling, right? Right?
Yes.
Yes. Rift Valley fever is vector-borne, or it is more specifically insect-borne virus. So always rainy season, at that time the insect is abundant or is more prevalent or more abundant. So it doesn't matter if you make longitudinal study, for example, it will be more stronger. Yes, of course, if you sample at rainy season and also at dry season, it will give more better results of the picture of the disease. But maybe there is many challenges of collecting sample at rainy season. According to the area you are investigating, you can decide whether it is available for you to collect the sample and dry season immediately after rainy season stop. It depends on your challenge as cross-sectional study. So it is one of the choice. But if you want more stronger data about Rift Valley fever, yes, you need to include seasonality. In this case, better to make it longitudinal study than to make it cross-sectional study. I mean, to sample in both time, during the rainy season and also in the dry season. The picture will be very clear. And by the way, maybe you can find in the rainy seasons, the prevalence rate is lower than the prevalence rate in dry season. It depends in the timing of your sampling also. So the design of the study at that time, the design of the research, it should be considered very well. I hope I answered the question clear. Or if I miss it, you can ask again. Is it okay?
I think this is the only question. And thank you for information. At the end, now we will proceed our last antimicrobial resistance threat on human and animal. Welcome, Dr. Mohammed Abdulrahman.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. I think I can hear you. I don't know if other
Yes,
people.
it's okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Hi, good afternoon. Sorry, I was having a computer issue. You know, my computer got stuck. Good afternoon today. I'm very happy to be with you here with different colleagues, with different backgrounds. Thanks to the rector of Abrar University, Dr. Ahmed Kadle. I'm very delighted also to meet different colleagues with different backgrounds around the world, in Brazil, in UK, in Somalia. Today is November 3, which is considered as a One Health Day in the world. Today I want to talk about something about antimicrobial resistance, which is a threat to not only human health, but also to the animal health. Antimicrobials, as we know, they are used for prevention and treatment of infections or diseases which are happening in human and animals and plants. Those include antibiotics, which is used for bacterial infection, or antiviral for viral disease, antifungal, and also antiparasitics. Antimicrobial resistance is when it's very hard when infection become resistance. Is very hard to treat. So the disease will spread, and illness and death will be the end. So antimicrobial medicines, they are ineffective, and infection has become increasingly difficult. There are many drugs that are nowadays becoming resistant. In the world, they say that they are using the last resort of antimicrobials. So we have heard about MRSA, methicillin resistance drugs, which we normally people die 65%, 64% when they include them. Carbapenem resistance in Enterobacteriaceae. There is also cephaloxivin resistance. It's not only antibiotic resistance, but also there is antiviral, antifungal, and so antiparasitic resistance. As we know, malaria control will be very hard due to the development of resistance drugs. In the past era of antibiotics, very antibiotic era the death was between 40 to 50%. But when antibiotics was discovered, the death become less than 10%, which is an increase in life expectancy 20 years. So they are estimating that by 2050 AMR will kill 10 million deaths per year, and economic loss of 100 trillion US dollar around the world. And nowadays no new class of antibiotics is discovered, so we are only using the old ones. So antimicrobial issue is a sensitive issue. In addition to their public health and human health effect, it also has effect on the safety and the trust of the community and the public community in terms of the healthcare, in terms of food, and in terms of the environment. Antimicrobials are used for animals as growth promoters, as prophylactic, as therapeutic to treat disease. Those antimicrobials that are used in animals are also used in humans. So there is a close relationship between the antimicrobials used in the life. Antimicrobial resistance in animals also is a concern to antimicrobial resistance in human health. And in the world, they are not giving adequate attention. So AMR, or antimicrobial resistance in animals, is a double-edged weapon, causing untreatable diseases both in humans and animals. AMR studies in the world, in China, in Kenya, in Uganda, in Uruguay, and Brazil, showed that farm animals are becoming more resistant to common antimicrobial drugs. So one of the most important issue of developing antimicrobial resistance is the misuse and overuse of antimicrobial agents in humans. Due to the increase in human population and human demand, particularly in the number where there is large number of population in the countries which have large number of population, food producing animals will be given to thousands of tons of antimicrobials, and that one will increase globally. So in the food chain, you know, that antimicrobials that are given to food animals will go back to humans. So this problem of antimicrobial resistance requires a One Health approach in which the health of humans must be closely connected to the health of animals and the environment, as Dr. Farah said. So to minimize the human animal health ecosystem, these organizations, FAO, OIE, and WHO, they are cooperating to develop evidence-based guidelines for medical importance antimicrobials in food-producing animals. You know, drugs can reach a human sector either directly when contact with animals or indirectly when, you know, animals excrete their feces and urine in the environment, which again will come back to humans. It's believed that, you know, after they say 2050, antimicrobials may cause millions of deaths in humans. As we can see from here, tetanus death only 60,000 by 2050. AMR only alone will reach 10 million deaths in that time. And maybe, you know, the reason is why, the reason is, you know, lack of drug of choice, you know, because of AMR. That's why World Health Organization put AMR as the top 10 global health threats that need urgent action. There is what they call tripartite collaboration between OIE, FAO, and the WHO in One Health, which includes also MR. The proposed strategies, these strategies, there are 4 strategies to tackle antimicrobial resistance in the world. Number 1 is awareness and education of the community and animal farmers. Number 2 is, you know, surveillance and research to get data on the antimicrobial resistance in food animals and also in humans. Then also strategy number 3 is to reduce infection prevention and control by using more of hygienic measures and not antibiotics. And the last one is, you know, the strategy is appropriate use of antibiotics, so to stop the misuse and overuse of antibiotics. In Somalia, multi-drug resistance pathogens, bacterial pathogen has been reported in patients in public health hospitals in Mogadishu. And also last time we conducted a preliminary study of antibiotic residue in milk, and we found that it was like 24% of antibiotic residue in the milk. So if I want to conclude that antimicrobial resistance is a global challenge that requires One Health approach to achieve better public health outcome for people, animals, and the environment. And, you know, there is no one alone can do all these, but we need to include animal health practitioners, food producers, policy makers, regulatory bodies, pharmaceutical companies, drug dispensaries, to prioritize intersectoral collaboration to restrict inappropriate antimicrobial use in animals. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed Rahman, for your time and your nice presentation.
There's a question. Sorry, if I have chance, don't forget, I want to answer it, inshallah.
Okay. But Farah already
Yes, go
answered,
ahead.
but you can add your point.
No, currently, sorry.
Dr. Abdullah, Farah has already answered the question in the chat box.
Okay.
But you can add your point.
Ah, he already answered it.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
But you can add your point.
Okay. Okay. This is the answer of Farah, yes, but just to add a point here, as we mentioned, to achieve One Health concept, all should work together. Starting from school boys, from school teachers up to researchers together with decision makers. Always, all people should work together to achieve the One Health concept. School boys, just like now people start teaching people how to clean their hand. So all diseases before COVID-19, all of them as a matter of One Health concept, at that time, we have to educate or to distribute knowledge or awareness of washing hands or drinking clean water or eating clean food. Therefore, all sectors, all fields of science is possible to be included to work together to achieve the concept of One Health. Ecology and environmental and agricultural issues, these are the main corners of One Health research. Any One Health research should be related to at least one of these three corners: environment or ecological issues. Agriculture is sometimes included within the environment. Even the food sometimes included within the environment. Therefore, it is a cardinal corner of One Health. This is just if I may add something to the answers of Dr. Farah. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. First and foremost, I would like to express my appreciation to the speakers and participants for their valuable contribution to today's event on occasion of One Health Day. My deepest gratitude goes to all who attend the event and helped to make such a successful event. Thank you for all.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry if I may interfere here. He modified his question. Maybe he's asking if he's welcome, Mr. Siad. He's asking how one of health, maybe he's talking about someone in health sector, how he can work in ecology or in environment or in this area as One Health. Yes, yes. Most of doctors are not only found in hospitals. Some of them are investigating diseases in water. Some of doctors, they go epidemiologically and investigate schistosomiasis and snails in water. They are studying a disease, a health care issues, but epidemiologically, so he's in this case, the health person is studying the disease based on One Health, and he's studying that disease in the environment. If this example is good for you, yes. A researcher from health, even if he is a physician, even if he is a surgeon, if anything, he can go, for example, and investigate schistosomiasis disease, bilharziasis disease, not in clinic. He can go and investigate this disease in Lower Shabelle or other Juba River, for example, to write a paper about schistosomiasis epidemiology in that area, just from collecting sample of water, fresh drinking water from that area, for example. I hope this answer is okay. Yes, also. Yes, yes, thank you. I hope I am clear. I am more clear, Dr. Mr. Siad or Dr. Siad.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. There is one question, Dr. Amin, if you hear me. In detecting antibiotic residue in meat, what method do you use?
Is he available, Dr. Mohammed Amin?
I think he's not around.
This is very technical question, so he has to answer it as professional in this area.
Okay. If I try to answer, because
Okay.
I am the one who doing in the lab.
Very good. You are
Yeah.
welcome.
We are using a rapid test for commercial test called it PRIMI test. Okay, we're using that test to know the antibiotic specific antibiotic resistance, not all antibiotics. Thanks for all, and thank you for all again. It's our pleasure to meet you all, and this is the end of our webinar. Have a good night.